interim solution in this case is the total deregulation of the downstream sector, a path which has always been unpopular because of possible hardship which is likely to follow an increase in fuel prices.
The need, the imperative of fixing appropriate price for fuel, it was all aimed at deregulating the petroleum, the downstream sector. But what do we have in terms of labor union and the civil society organizations that made it an issue? It has become an issue, especially since 1993, since the June 12 era. The labor union has gained popularity through resistance of the regulation of downstream, fixing up market prices for petroleum products. Today, if government says that, okay, I will take the decision to deregulate, to allow the market forces to set the petroleum prices, you will see the country will almost be burnt down, because labor unions have taken it upon themselves. See, that was the only issue for which they were set up. So a government, especially under that's operating under a democratic system, cannot afford to alienate the people. You will see the insult, abuses, all kinds of curses, and so on. People are insensitive, and even members of National Assembly will join the fray. So, on that basis, it's not easy for government to say, okay, in the soup, I will deregulate. I fix the price. And unless you do that, we see play hide and seek game, with the price of fuel.
And you have to also look at the feelings of Nigerians. We are just coming out of recession, and it took a lot for Nigerians to adjust to a pump price increase from 87 naira to 145 naira per litre. If the government were to come again and say they were to deregulate fully, NNPC boss just said the landing price is 171 naira per litre. Inevidently, what we are saying is price of where we go as high as 180 naira or 200 naira per litre. Is that what we want to make Nigerians go through again? The answer is no. As Pengasan, we would not support it. Government has a responsibility to also provide a cushioning effect to the Nigerian citizens. You call it subsidy, you call it whatever. We are not in support of subsidy, but we need to make life easy for Nigerian people. So, in terms of allowing market prices to dictate the price of a petroleum product, that is something we can focus on, cost recovery and so on and so forth. It is not compulsory that market should dictate all prices. If you go to the telecom sector, markets don't dictate the prices. The NCC, Nigerian Communications Commission, actually dictate what prices the telecom companies should charge. If you go to the electricity sector, market forces do not dictate the prices, but the National Electricity Regulatory Commission dictates the price with which the tariff that people should pay for electricity. These are social goods. They are goods that affect the entire fabric of the society. So an outright allowing the market to determine the price outrightly at this stage, we need to mature to that extent. A lot of things need to be put in place for us to get to that point.
You see, Pengasin and Nupeng have always been in support of subsidy removal. It is the process that has been the issue. If you say you want to take away subsidy, then we will not ask you what is the safety net. You and I know wages have not increased. It was 18,000 naira at 150 naira to the dollar, minimum wage. Now it's 314 naira CBN rate, 360-65 black market rate. So you are having wages are going down, prices of foodstuff are skyrocketing, transportation will also go up, foodstuffs are going to go up. So what are the safety nets you are putting in place? So it's not just something that somebody will come and say, okay, let's just take it off once and for all. The politicians also need to factor in certain indices. They also, politicians are first and foremost, they want to survive. So they have to look at, okay, how are they going to make this decision? You and I know what happened in 2012. Probably if Jonathan had done it, instead of doing it in January, if he had done it in June, it may have been a different ball game. So that is also getting his timing wrong.
Another approach of the government has been to set up a committee to deliberate on the issues and prefer acceptable solutions. The committee has all stakeholders, including the Major Oil Marketers Association.
First, we found out that there was supply shortage, and then the next step is how to avoid that, because in 2016 there was no shortage. So why 2017? So there's a committee looking at that. There's also a committee that is looking at the position of the private sector, because Moman and Dapma made it clear that before now we were doing 60% of the imports, but throughout last year we couldn't do that much. In fact, at a point nobody could bring in anything. Why? As crude oil rises, in sympathy with that rise, the product prices also rise. Coupled with the fact that during the so-called winter months, we don't have winter here, it's either rainy season or dry season. During the winter months, certain things happen abroad. Some refineries go on maintenance. More emphasis is put on production of the heating oils instead of petrol, which means the quantity of petrol that comes out of the refineries is smaller. So we're looking at the pricing template of PPPRA, because there are some elements that we as marketers pay for which is not captured in the templates. So all these things will be looked at so that we now get to a position where we can say that this is actually the price of petrol if I'm to sell it as a private sector man. This is as opposed to 145, that is a dictated price from government. The 18 months does not mean that during the 18 months there will be shortage for 18 months. No. I think the public should rest assured that steps have been taken to ensure that once we overcome this particular period, which will be in a matter of days, we will not have, the 18 months is not going to indicate that there's going to be a problem. We're looking at a situation where the private sector can be encouraged to come back to importation, because, like I always say, if you leave importation only to NMPC, and it is set from history, anytime they are the only importers, there's always a problem. Always. Always. Because if there's any hiccup, there's no cushion from the private sector.
A future plan for this is the proposed Dangote refinery, which is set to be completed in 2019 with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, as well as the development of modular refineries. The queues may be subsiding now, but the fear that it will reappear in earnest is not very far from the heart of many Nigerians. So back to the issue of solution, which on a permanent basis remains refining the crude that Nigerians will use locally. But before then, should the downstream be totally deregulated? Can Nigerians stand the impact of it? Tell us what you think about that, or any other suggestion you think can solve this problem. I'm Amy John Mekwa. Thank you so much for watching.